100 million units sold, with more than 10,000 titles available, and software sales well over 1.5 billion. The PlayStation 2 was a titan in the console world. It played DVDs, brought 3D graphics to a whole new level, gave birth to iconic franchises, and pioneered online gaming. The PlayStation 2 has definitely earned its place in the history books.
You could also play with it sideways.
Did you know you can turn the PS logo like so?
It even had some cool titles available for it. Enter Oni.
Billed as an intense action anime thriller, Oni combined hand-to-hand combat and gunfighting into a third-person perspective that had yet to be seen at the time. The game is set 31 years into the future where the planet Earth is in ruins, evil villains run free, and you, the very well-trained TCTF officer Kanoko, must help keep peace in these trying times.
Oni was a great Year 1 title for the PlayStation 2. It had action, it had adventure, it had a female lead that wasn't like any other female leads, and it's all thanks to the wonderful people at Rockstar and Bungie. Yes, that Bungie.
Billions of dollars in revenue, millions of games sold, and around 200 employees. Bungie has earned its place in video game history from its little headquarters in Bellevue, Washington.
But this isn't the Halo Bungie we're talking about here. There are many different breeds of Bungie indigenous to the United States.
Oni was made by Bungie West, which was a separate division of Bungie that was located in California that operated from 1997 to 2000. Even though Oni was Bungie West's first game, it was also its last. Bungie West closed its doors after Bungie was sold to Microsoft in the year 2000.
Well, this cover looks great. The screenshots show some promise. My PS2 is ready to go, so let's put this little lady in and see what she's made of. Oh, crap. What the... Gee, I hope I didn't scratch it. It's blue! One more quick fact before the game starts. The early PS2 discs were CD format, which were colored blue. The gold color ones were DVD format. Now, let's get this game started. Wait, what's this? This is cool! I thought I was playing a video game, and here I am watching anime. But we're not here to watch anime, so let's get to the game.
Here's the star of the show, Kanoko. Yes, this is Kanoko, and this is Kanoko, and this is Kanoko. Man, she really likes to change things up. You are Kanoko, a young woman who was raised as an orphan from the young age of 3. Seeing that she was raised by a futuristic police force, Kanoko is obviously a master of martial arts and an expert marksman.
Give me another reading.
All systems nominal.
Accompanying you on your journey will be Shinitama. She is an SLD, or a simulated life doll, or an android, which helps Kanoko along her merry way. She drops tips and tricks about the mission and brings up title cards that show you how to do special moves. She's like Navi with the full vocabulary.
Listen, Kanoko. You weren't in any danger during basic training.
Then there's the father figure. This guy you'll get to know sooner or later, and his bodyguard. The characters.
Ready to lose? You're gonna get beat by a girl.
Believe it or not, there were creative struggles over how Kanoko should look, because when you have a female lead in a video game, that becomes one of the selling points. There were struggles with the two Bungie divisions over Kanoko's overall appearance. First, they would make her as your average over-armored police officer. Then, after sending a design in, the other division would send suggestions back. Then they would send another revision. So yeah, there were disagreements. Now, what does Konoko do in this game besides get a makeover every time the medium changes? She is an officer of the Technology Crimes Task Force. Her job is to use everything she's learned throughout the years to take down the Syndicate, an evil crime organization that sells drugs and illegal weapons. While the bad guys have money, power, and fear on their sides, Konoko has strength, a futuristic AI helper, and years of training to help her even the odds.
And all these years of training are about to pay off, because the first level of the game is Konoko's first real mission. In real life. So no more training dummies, no more 5 a.m. drills. Everything Konoko's been training for her entire life is about to be put to the test. And here's the first enemy of the game. Right there. Ooh, I remember these guys from the opening. They were ruthless, they were violent, and they're right here. So let's see what you're made of.
Hey!
Hey?
Hey!
So yeah, let's just beat this poor dude to death and get Konoko's kill count started.
Now, besides punching and kicking, Oni incorporates grapples and special moves into the hand-to-hand system. All the special techniques are done by inputting a few directional commands and then one of the attack buttons. And in true anime fashion, she announces what her technique is called as she's doing it. Wow, this game really is inspired by anime. These moves are a fantastic addition to the game. They deal more damage than standard punches and kicks and show how good of a fighter Konoko is. It's also a good way to put those goons in their place.
I choose not to use these moves. It's not because I refuse to violently harm the henchmen. It's just because I can't do these moves. Seriously, I have no idea how they work. Like the grapples. It says forward plus the punch button. Normally, I just hit forward and punch at the exact same time, but that's not working. You have to push forward then punch, just in one motion, one right after the other. The attack moves aren't any easier, like the crescent moon kick. It says kick, kick, forward plus kick. So
there are also a wide variety of weapons. Handguns, machine guns, rocket launchers, and a neutrino wand, apparently. But punching and kicking everyone in sight works so much better, so after level 2, I didn't even bother using guns. Besides, fists don't run out of bullets.
So, we've covered the basics of combat, but you're probably asking yourself, how exactly does an intense action anime thriller with intense combat and futuristic weapons work? Well, your sole mission as a TCTF officer is to get to the end of the level.
In order to get to the end of the level, you have to go through doors. Some of these doors are locked, so you have to explore the open levels to find consoles to unlock the locked doors. Then you can progress. Sounds fun, huh? But sadly, yes, that's the core gameplay mechanic. Reach the end of the level. Most of the time, you don't even have to fight the bad guys. You can just run past them, unlock the doors, and you're finished. That would have been cool if there was a performance chart after completing the level, like punches thrown, gun accuracy, data consoles found, or even something like finish the level by using sneak attacks bonus. But no, none of that exists. Just reach the end of the level and you're done. While I was playing through the first level, I was getting a similar vibe that came from playing the Batman Arkham games and the Metal Gear Solid series. You actually have the option to sneak around people to make a surprise attack. But in Oni, there's just no incentive to doing any of this in the game. You can pretty much finish the game by spamming the punch button.
Oh, it's unleashing a torrent of digital images of itself. Stop it!
The enemies themselves aren't even a good gameplay mechanic. Some go down easy, some not so much, and then there's this little weasel that made a run for the alarm, but I took care of him. Then there's the soldiers with weapons, and these guys are just plain cheap. That's all they do. It seems like Bungie pretty much predicted noob warfare. Look at these guys with the rocket launchers and explosives. Well, I guess I can't blame the game for any of this. They were going for some kind of realism, and that's pretty much an acceptable tactic. Just stand still and keep on shooting. There aren't any enemies that are immune to certain attacks, which would have been cool since the combat system is somewhat diverse. For instance, there could have been an enemy immune to punches, so you had to kick him instead, or an enemy that had to be thrown around to make him vulnerable to attack. You know, variety. But punching always works. Always. To better explain what I'm getting at, take this guy from Arkham City. Simple punches and kicks don't work, so you have to stun him first. Afterwards, he's left vulnerable and open to attack. From the standard goons to the beefy bosses, all the enemies in Oni are the same. Sure, some need to be punched more, and these guys phase shift, and this guy actually has a name.
Can't top tanker.
But that's about it. They can all be defeated with a series of punches. So why bother with the confusing techniques when you can just punch your way to victory? They should have just called this game Punchy, because that's pretty much all you need to do. Take this boss, for instance. The first time around, I tried to use throws, grapples, and special techniques, but he just plain killed me. During round 2, I just spammed that R1 button. What happened?
Maybe the developers were going with a take down the opposition any way you want kind of scenario, a choose your own path kind of thing. As far as I'm concerned, I choose simplicity. Because why bother?
So, as far as the enemies are concerned, there's really nothing special.
Master Chief!
You're gonna get beat by a cop. Rise to fury!
Well, that was exciting. That's pretty much all there is to the game. Punch, unlock, proceed.
Well, besides the unlock the door consoles, there are also some data consoles that have information about in-game elements, such as information about the outside world and bios about the opposition. These are actually a good addition to the game because they add to the story a little bit and foreshadow some truths about Konoko and what she is. I guess you could call these consoles story elements. One of the most important things that hook me on a video game is the story. I look for things like, how well are the characters presented, do the characters have character, and does the story even tell a story? I have nothing against the story of Oni, I just don't like the way it's presented to the player.
To be honest, there isn't a whole lot to the story. I'd say that about 10% of the game is the story, with the rest being unlocking doors and fighting the bad guys.
You're not who you think you are.
What?
It's one of those self-discovery stories. As the game progresses, Kanoko gradually finds pieces of a past she never knew about, like who her parents were, this guy was her uncle, and the leader of the syndicate was her brother all along. She also finds out that she is a walking science experiment.
They used me to monitor the growth of the chrysalis inside you.
In a very science fiction fashion, Kanoko's dad manipulated her genes to adapt to any environment, namely the oxygen-deprived atmosphere outside the protected cities. So in a way, she is the future of humankind. Her brother is also equipped with the same gene therapy, but we barely see enough of him to care. Kanoko even tested this theory out to see if it was true by jumping into a vat of toxic waste. She made it out, but her clothes didn't.
How much do you know already?
My birth name is Mai Hasagawa.
The character development is scarce. Kanoko was pretty much the only character to get any attention when it comes to development. We never know why Muro went crazy and tried to take over the world. We never find out where Kanoko's dad went after her adoption. And we just don't know jack about this guy. Sure, there's some further reading, but why not put that in the game?
One word I could use to describe this game would be empty. I'm not complaining about the graphics or the gameplay. It's just not a very rewarding experience. I don't get that sense of accomplishment. Yes, there was the occasional level that took me a couple tries, maybe about an hour to beat, but just to be rewarded with 5 minutes of dialogue, that's not very rewarding.
I guess I just really wanted to be blown away with Oni. I never played it as a kid, so coming into it today, I knew it was an old game coming from a time when technology was brand new and everyone was trying to come up with the next big thing. It just wasn't Oni. It seemed like it was going to be, but unfortunately it wasn't.
You lose.
Despite the series beginning and ending with one game, Oni seems like a very decent property. They could have really expanded on this universe with a companion TV series, some books, action figures. I can name a few series that have those things. The only real addition to the series was a 4-issue comic book tie-in to the game, and I use the term tie-in very loosely. The story is just an open and closed case unrelated to anything in the game besides Kanoko being a super cop and the syndicate being the bad guys. It's pretty much just promotional. I thought this was just silly, but Guile and Sagat make cameos as big mean muscle dudes. Heck, I'm surprised Kanoko didn't make an appearance in the PlayStation Fighter. Think about it. She's an excellent physical combatant, she knows how to handle weapons, and she was in a PlayStation game. Nathan Drake and Raiden both share those attributes. She even has a bit of an attitude.
Too late. I just triggered my detonation harness. In 5 seconds, you and I will both be dead.
If anything, they could have put her in just to get another lady in the roster. That game is a total dude fest.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed my in-depth look at Oni. There might be a little bit more to say, but that's all the free time I have for right now. Tune in next time, we'll see what happens.